Testing this out. Alright, testing this out. Let me make myself a little louder. Let me make myself a little louder. Let's see, does that overpower my voice is the question. Let's see, does that overpower my voice is the question. Alright. Getting a little testing done before the stream starts, everyone. For those of you watching afterwards, might want to skip a little bit forward because I'm going to take a quick stop. Sweet. Let's put this on. Alright. The last time we left off, for those of you joining this stream or watching it afterwards, was we got these turrets, these railgun turrets added. They now kind of follow the same direction, so you know if I point them in the same way, they'll eventually fire and hit roughly the same point. Of course, that can always change depending on the kind of actions going on. But yeah, so the idea is that they should be able to hit the same targets. So right now you can see we also add movement based on the railguns. Now, one thing I need to add this stream is that it kind of gives them rotational momentum. Because you know, if you got two railguns on top, they might add slight momentum to the right. But the way I want to do is I want to set it up so that they each add rotational momentum where they're at. So like when they're firing this way, you know, they might add slight rotation this way. Because the momentum that they add into the vehicle. So let's go here. Actually. Alright, so let's go back to the play pawn. Right, and now we need to add some stuff. Let's see. So the best way to add, because the issue we had last time was we couldn't really add angular momentum because I couldn't figure out the right setup to get that, but I think I've kind of figured it out off screen. Let me get in here. I need to organize. In fact, I might do that first. I'm going to start with organizing all these freaking pieces here. So let's do player. Let's do that. And then everything that belongs to the player can go in there. I mean, technically this is part of the player model, but it's enemies actually get it, so I probably won't have that crosshairs, flying game mode, IFF, these fractional mythicals. Yeah, because I don't think the player actually has all of them. I'm going to delete these, probably something like that. Missile tubes, Railgun turret, player pawn, PDCs, which will go on different player HUD, the missile parent, missile tubes, vulnerable debris. Okay, so I think that's everything that is just the players, and we're going to do move here. And let's see, this can all be deleted alongside this and this, because I don't believe they're used anywhere else. Ooh, technically the PC is using the one material, so I should do that. Since this is referencing it, where is it referencing? It's referencing outliner. Oh, yes, so I need to remove that from post-processing volume. Delete. So it doesn't actually use that anymore. So let's see here. Should take that out. Let's see, save all. So where are you referenced? So let's do reference viewer. So this is referenced by inst, which inst is no longer referenced. So let's do this. One reference. I think that's just the material reference, which it hasn't updated to deleted. So yeah, that should all be good. All right. Now I need to make a folder and call this materials. And then those two can go in there. Move, and let's recolor this, right? Because we can recolor this. Actually, let's start by fix up redirectors. There we go. Alright, this is player, but this is station. So actually, this should be under player. And then let's fix up redirects here. Yeah, so delete this. Station, player, materials. This will rename, instead of being called player, this is going to be just game. And we'll create a folder here. Oh yeah, I should probably do fix up redirects. Let's do all the way back. Validation, okay, it's all good. So this is all in here, right? So game or player, this should be all empty. Yeah. Go ahead and delete this. Delete. Okay, it's because these. Yeah, there we go. Oh no, it's still not wanting to delete this. I don't know why this won't delete. But oh well. Alright. Go to the game folder, and now let's create a new folder. We'll call this PDC turret. So everything that's related to that. So it's turret. And then PDC, 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 PDC. Move that all to there. Then create a new folder. Missile. That's missile tube, missile parent. I think that's it. So missiles, move here. In fact, actually, I might remove everything related to missiles there. And then separate it out inside that folder. So yeah, it's a good missile, move here. these are railgun stuff. Projectiles. So yeah, missile. And we'll have new folder. Call this missile tube. So missile tube and everything related to it will go in there. Alright, and then let's do railgun. Everything related to that. Move here. There we go. And then we will have new folder. All this AI. That'll be just a basic outline of what we'll call it. Since the spawnable debris happens with the AI, we're going to do something a little different with the player. So let's move all that there. Alright, so there we go. Got that all cleaned up. Let me see. I know there used to be a way. Let's see. Set color. Color. Okay, so that's all it is. So if we go here, set color, so you know, AI, it's gonna be red. Materials, set something like a light green, so we have all red from it. Max up green. The missiles, I think all weapons will set just for the color. We'll set them to maybe something like a blue. And so for every weapon, so I don't know, I guess we got those separated out. So turrets will have their own color. Set something like that. Railguns will get that same color. Stations will be gray because they're stations and player. So it's like something black. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'll have to clear that up a bit, and I will have to go through all this starter content eventually and reorganize, remove some of it, migrate some of it into what we need to keep and don't need to keep. Some of that may use like the explosions and stuff and just edit them for my own purposes. Yeah, let's get back to here. Alright, so got that fixed and figured out, so let's close that. And let's take a look here. So one thing I want to start with, I guess we'll start with the velocity issue. So let's go to the railgun. And okay, so when it fires, I also want to add impulse in the set physics angular velocity. Set physics angular velocity. Now I want to do degrees. I guess if I do degrees, probably a little easier. And then I would just do basically the same kind of thing as I'm doing with this. And I want to add to current, because I want to like add extra. So let's see if that does anything. Might be a little too fast on her, but let's see if it can get it to rotate in a circle. Alright, so that works, but way too fast. So for this one, we're going to do this same thing as we're doing over here, but with a lesser number. So actually multiply this by a float, drop it down here. Let's just start with 1, just the lowest possible number, and see if what that looks like. Okay, so that doesn't rotate properly. See, that's why we do it like that. It's rotating backwards, so that will be the upward. So for some reason, the forward vector, it's reading as up vector. Let's see. So what if we did it's up vector? Instead, plug that into there. Like that. See what that looks like. Okay. Now it's rotating kind of like that, which actually isn't the worst thing. A little bit of rightward rotation. So it's so the issue is we want to get the angular velocity, and we want to times it by whatever direction we're facing. So this should be getting the barrel's forward direction and adding that to our current angular velocity, but it's not. What if we got, let's see, instead we did something like transform direction, and let's do this, and then got the players transform, right? Get after transform, get and now the question is it world transform or local transform? What's it down here? Is it get after transform? So let's just do world transform and try that. Let's start with that. So that should, let's see what that does. Some of them are a little new too, because it's a little detail. Okay, see, it's giving us the same result as before, so I don't think this is the issue. See, it's where it's applying it to, because I want to apply it in that direction. In the firing to the left, you want to fire, that direction. So, maybe it's. Oh, I wonder if that's the problem. We shouldn't be using the. Okay, so for this, we don't want to be getting. This is forward vector because that's the barrel. Its forward vector is forward of this whole thing because it's not actually turning, it's the pivot that's turning. So I wonder if we change this to do basically the same thing as this, since it's actually the one that's turning, and then times it by the 1 for now until we figure out how string we want to go with it. Wait, what about this? Then this should. It's still doing it wrong. Let me think. Why is this getting the wrong forward vector? It should be forward of the turret. Or like what it's. Because I want to get the X unit direction vector from this component in world space. What if we instead so start with get vector and look at what vectors we have, right, upright, and see this one. with this. See, as this turns, it should be giving us the correct vector, but it's not. Why is that? Let's just start with, let me remove this and we'll just do a print string, kind of figure out why, see if it changes any. If we do get forward vector, then I'm going to want to get a few other things. So this should give us what direction it's facing. I want like right vector, get vector, and kind of see like what is going on with these. Let's take a look here. Oh, what is going on with this? Oh, why is that acting weird? Oh, is it one of those? Okay, it's one of those things where it's weird that children update like that. There's like a thing where if you update a blueprint and then update it back, like undo it, for some reason they don't actually update properly. For some reason, I don't get it, but let me go in here. Yeah, see, they're correct here. So let's see if I go in here. Let's rotate this to the right. 90 degrees. Compile save. Rotate it back to the 180. Save. Rotate it back forward. I'll save. That should fix it, because it'll auto update. No, it does not. The way to refresh this. Place it with itself? No, that didn't work. So I think last time I just dragged another copy of itself back in. And then take this one, copy location, delete, grab that one, paste location. Yeah, then now look, or it's faced the correct way. No longer offset. Okay, so let's see, we turn its face sideways. The vector is 0.12, 0.2, negative 0.5. That's weird. The z is 1. I'm facing this way. So z always stays 1. Huh. Very strange. So let's see, let me split these. Split strut. Alright. And let's see, so up is the Z, which we're not too worried about. So let's start with get forward. We want to check the X on all of these, because the X should be the forward vector of the guns. So whichever one of these is changing is the one that we're worried about the most. So yeah. So the middle vector is almost not changing. Oh, that's weird. it's negative, so that would be the second one that's changing. So it's saying the get right vector is the one that's correctly changing. So let's start with that on the x component. So let's just do the same thing, but in this we want to use split struct and then return x. We're adding to current, so we're not adding anything to the y or z, only adding into the x. However, this is changing. Let's start with this. See, it's doing roll instead of pitch. Or pitch instead of roll. So let's try bring it to the y. That would, let me see, is that correct? Wait, why did this spawn all the way over here? Oh, because there's two. What the hell? Since what? What's going on here? Oh, what the hell? Uh-oh. Did I fuck something up? It's like spawning a player instead of just taking over this one. Do that. So let's see. I don't understand why that's doing that. And also not working properly. Let's try and see. And what is going on with this? Why is it not? Why is it spawning a new? I don't understand. Let me close Unreal Engine. So that's weird. Let's close that. Open and close that. And reopen this. It's not going to go. Let's try this. Yeah, what's it doing? Is it spawning a new player instead of actually just grabbing the current player? Flying game mode, that's all correct. Player pawn, player color, shape, player. Oh, I bet I know what it is. Yep. Auto possessed by player. Player 0. There we go. Yeah, we don't want to auto possess AI. We don't want an AI controller class. It's just player. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Right, that was the problem. Forgot. It's been a while since I've replaced that. Okay, so that's just flying sideways. open turret. Alright. Let's go back here. Oh, that's why. So it should be returned by X on the Z, not that. So let's try that. Okay, so see, it's like rotating incorrectly. Ooh. So the way I want to do this, I'm getting the right vector. Oh, I'm trying to think. And then I want to rotate the ship. Thereupon, I want to rotate it on the x-axis. So I want to get the x and rotate it along the x. So let's try this. I know that's what we did before. It didn't work, but I'm trying to figure out why it didn't work. Let's try that. Wait, so it's working now. What the hell? Okay, so it's working. Now we just gotta get it to do it the right direction. So that is the wrong. So we just do -1. So let's multiply this by -1. -1. In fact, I might even do -0.5 if you don't want me to go quite that fast. Want to be able to fire off. Well, I guess, I mean, let's see how it feels. Because we want to be able to fire off. Yeah, because they fire that way and they fire backwards. Let's fire this way. It should turn sideways. There we go. Fire backwards. So in theory, if your engine's got, you can use railguns to fly around. There we go. Now this is probably a little bit too much thrust. I'll probably even lower it further than that. The ship is going to have a hard time slowing that down. Well, the brakes are on, it's fine, but you know, the brakes don't take into angular momentum. That's not something I did realize, so that's probably something I should change. Yeah, neither does the roll. Okay, so that's something I need to fix as well. At the very least, that now imparts angular momentum. So, how do I want to handle this? Best bet would probably be that the roll does take into account angular momentum. But yeah, because I don't like how this is handling roll currently. So I think right now it's in an event tick. And what's happening is that it's saying, hey, what are we rolling at? Yeah, what's our current pitch yaw speed? Which I think actually, other than roll, we could theoretically get rid of this. Let's try that. I don't know if that'll actually work, because I don't remember how these dependencies are set up. It's been a while since I set these systems up. Let's go forward. Okay. So yeah. So the only thing that up and down, okay, so the up and down, left and right, all are impacted by that. Just left and right can do it a little bit, wiggle a little bit. So this is still important to have, although I hate this on event tick. I might change the second timer at some point, but one thing I want to do is angular velocity. Braking should be able to impact that. So how do I want to deal with this though? It's braking in a direction. So no matter what, it goes through every single one of these. So whether true or false, then at the very end, I want to check. I want to just basically do like angular dampening. Set all physics angular velocity, which is going to be on this. So whether true or false, we want to say, hey, angular velocity. Split, strict pin, and have it all set to 0. Let's try that. So that should allow the brakes to stop the rotation. Right now, the way the rotation works, so we rotate around. So let's fire. Gotta keep rotating. Without a brake, it stops it. Okay. Brakes are off, and it'll start. See, I can resist it without the brakes. Oh, better stop that. Okay. So without the brakes, I can resist it, but I can't stop it. Which I do want to be able to stop it. So let's see. So I want to give recoil a purpose. You know, recoil does add some velocity. But I don't want it to just stop on a dime. I want to kind of slow down. So I can add impulse in the angular velocity I'm currently traveling. So I kind of get the angular velocity. Let's do get angular velocity degrees, and let's just do here and do string, and do here. So this should, when I hit the brakes, say here's how fast your angular velocity is. So let's start firing. Yeah. So here's what your angular velocity is. So instead of getting angular velocity, we'll do add impulse. Angular impulse. That's what we do in the railgun modifiers, right? Set. Oh, we're setting. Why are we not adding angular impulse? Why are we setting? Should be adding angular impulse. Add angular impulse. Yeah, we want to do it to this. And angular impulse. In degrees. Split. Drop this into the X. Switch this to here. Alright, do something like that. And then in here. I won't worry about this for now. So let me actually take that off. Do that after we add impulse. So let's go here. So that's not really adding any kind of angular impulse, but it could be because of the amount. So let's just do that. Like we do with the player thrust. Let's see. Okay, maybe we had it right the first time then. So let's go back here. This probably won't work then, so we'd rather want to do then angular set physics angular velocity in degrees. So this is breaking a certain direction, and so it breaks by a certain amount in each of those directions. So it doesn't just stop it on a dime. So we'll want to set physics angular velocity to the base. Let's do this. So no matter which one it goes, we're going to set the angular velocity. Welcome, welcome. So with the angular velocity, we're going to set it to half, right? Let's just do divide by float, so divide by 2. So this will say, half of it, and then if this is less than, some number, so well, is it really not a less than vector? Just vector less than. Oh, that's weird. Let's just do break vector, yeah. And if these combined, we want to have them, what do you call it? We don't want to combine them if they are negative, so we want to do, if this is blanking on the term. Let me go. I know I did this somewhere else in this player. It is absolute. That's what it is. Absolute. So get the absolute of these. And then Control C, Control V, Control V. Blam, blam. Wham, bam. There we go. So, grab these, shrink this down. Alright, so, it's, if I'm understanding this correctly, we're going to come in here and say, hey, what's the player's angular velocity if it is not less than a certain amount? So, if it is less than 5, so let's do a branch. If it is, so there we go. If it is less than 5, just set it to 0. So we'll just do Control C. If true, set the angular velocity to 0. If false, then we're going to want to set the angular velocity to the current halved. What am I missing? Oh, yeah, I got that target. There we go. So let's go here, play. So fire away until we get quite a quick pace of rotation. And then if we hit X, it seems to stop pretty quick. So maybe 5 is a little bit. Let's bang into this and see that it'll rotate. Yeah, 5 still seems a little high. So I think that the rotational velocity for this is actually quite low compared to the movement velocity, because Yeah, so you can spin quite quickly with this, but this is not true velocity. It's more of like an animation kind of thing. Like it's not truly imparting physics, which is meant to because it makes it easy for the player to maneuver. So let's spin it up. Start going pretty fast. Bang into something, start bouncing around. Oh, well, that's not what I meant. Let's see here. That angular momentum going up. Yep. Yeah, that still seems to do fast. So maybe half's a little high. Let's divide it by. So what? Divided by 2. We don't want to do it because that's too fast. So divide it by like 1.2. Let's try something like that. Like what's that, like a fifth or something? Let's see here. And. Start getting up fast. And then bam. Okay, yeah, that seemed a little bit better. Let's actually rotate this way. Let's try to get that rotation going. Try to speed up a bit. Try to slam into something and bounce around. Boing. There we go, we're going at a decent enough pace. Let's hit X. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let's go up to a high speed. Start firing off this way. Start forcing ourselves to rotate. See here. Okay, that seems good enough for me. So there we go. I mean, it's still not perfect. There will be some tweaking I need to do for that angular velocity, but it's got the right idea. It forces you to consider that you'll probably rotate a bit when you fire. So, all right, and let's see here. What I might do is take this and whenever you're rotating it manually, set the velocity. That way, players aren't fighting the velocity nonstop and not realizing they can break, because that is something that can definitely happen. Definitely can see players doing that. So let's go here. So we'll zero out the angular velocity. With that, oh yeah, I need to plug in this. And then, all right. we go. So let's see, what do I want to work on next? Yes, a railgun reload time. Because right now they just fire instantly. So, whenever the player calls fire turret, let's go in here. So the player can call fire turret. We only want turrets to be able to fire if they've reloaded, so we'll say reload. So reloaded. How's this reloaded? Don't have a branch. And plug this in. So if reloaded is true, go ahead and fire. False, we're not going to fire. So these will be set to the end of this one. Once we fire and everything, this Boolean, there we go. Reloaded is going to be set to false. So by default, we want them to be true. So by true, so we'll say, oh, this is not reloaded, it just fired. I would assume you'd want to start a timer of some sort. So I don't want an event tick. Try to avoid those as much as possible. So then maybe just begin play timer. And yeah, we'll do a set timer by event. So this will be a timer, and it'll just be new event, add custom event, reload events. So this won't be a looping one. So this will just say like after 5 seconds, reload timer. So how do we want to call this? Actually, I don't think we want this then. Oh, I know what to do. I'm an idiot. So this is the easy one. Just delay 5 seconds. I'll just call it reload turret. And this delay will actually promote to a variable and call this reload time. So right now it's going to be set to 5 seconds. Once completed, set reloaded to true. And that should actually just work. We'll want to call it here, so we'll just want to say reload turret. So it's fired, set all that stuff, and then start reloading. So let's try this. So it should fire off once and then not be able to fire off again for 5 seconds. Once. Yeah, I'm hitting the button and not firing, not firing, not firing, not firing. Secondary fire. Yeah. Perfect. So that's done. That was pretty simple. And it's all because it's independent of each other. If one doesn't actually fire, it isn't able to call the fire sequence, it will already be reloaded. So what we'll want to do here is, so this is all good. So a turret, we don't even want to, well, I guess we want to check first, is it reloaded? So it won't matter, if it's not reloaded, it won't even matter if it can get clear line of sight. But if it is reloaded, then we want to do a function called check clearance. And we'll want to check and make sure that it has line of sight to the target. So so let's see. So either way, it's doing a collision, and then it's saying aim turret at collision. Is there a way to set this to looking at. I want to know if the turret can see the target. Aim vector. It's trying to turn it. Oh, I think that's what I do. A similar thing in the PDC turret. Let me check. So in here I go target aim rotator, which, where do I set target aim rotator? So here I set it from make rot X, set target aim rotator. It does the stuff. If this stuff is within a margin of error, so this is a tolerance vector. So I do, I removed this from the previous one because I was like, I wasn't sure if I needed this, but now I can see this actually would be handy. So, let's grab those, grab set, and we're going to make rot X. Still a little early today. So let's go Railgun, drop it here. Let's move this. Okay, so target aim rotator. It's gonna be set. Actually, I need to do this before this. So make rot X. So this needs to be a thing. So I need to do target aim rotator. Make this a rotator. Then just do set target aim rotator. I'm gonna call that here. This, plop that here. So pulls in here, says, hey, target aim rotator, grab all this. Alright, so this we get from pivot and barrel nut, so let's copy these two. Pivot and barrel nut, because that's the yaw and the pitch, although I think this actually flipped, yeah. Because the yaw is not the barrel nut, that's the pivot, so actually flip these two. Put those, grab those, move back down. So, pitch, barrel nut. Okay, yeah, so that's matched up. So what I'll do is say, hey, make rotator. This rotator, if it is, I'll do target aim rotator. So if these are within one of each other, we'll want to set this true to print string true. So this will only start printing true once they're within one of each other. So let's just make sure that that stuff works. So if we go here, yeah, so they will be false up until they boom, line up. So perfect. So what we want to do is, if these are true, then we want to have a clear line of sight. So checking clearances. So actually, aim turret. This is going to be called every so often. Want to output. So we'll do check clearance. So we actually don't want to do check clearance. We'll just remove that function. What we'll do is we'll have a variable say in it target bool. And in here, we're going to say if true, so within that margin of error, can hit target. If not, then cannot hit target. And each turret's fire turret will only fire, so we'll do another branch, if it can hit the target. So if it can see it. Or well, if they're aligned. Well, no, yeah, so that actually wouldn't work, will it? Because that's only when they're aligned will that actually work. It doesn't necessarily have to be hitting target. But I mean, if... yeah, this is still what we want. Because if a turret is on its side, if it is, you know, on the side of the vehicle, and it can't actually aim at the correct thing. So it's not really can hit target, it's can, like, aim at target. So I guess that's actually a better way of putting it. Some more of can aim at targets. You don't want to fire the guns that can't actually aim at the target, because of course you're not going to hit the target you can't aim at. So as of right now, they'll fire. So it's actually back out. That way I know that they've got fresh rounds. And as it's moving, that'll be false, so we'll fire until, boom, they line up and hit fire. Awesome. So the benefit of this, the reason why I did this, is so if I go back here, go game, and let's go to the player ship. If we have turrets that can't see, so sight line is obstructed, let's rotate him this way 90 degrees, and then move him off this way. Eventually I'll actually have a smart targeting thing that'll actually, like, these turrets will look. So if there's something on the ship obstructing them, or something like in the area obstructing them, they'll be able to detect that, and they won't even fire then, because then they won't, even if they can face it, they won't fire at something they can't actually shoot without shooting through the ship. Current goal is get this here, pull this back, compile. Alright, so if we go here, yeah. So this can actually fire. The other one won't actually open fire, because he can't see that target, which is how we want it. We want them to try to aim at it, but since he can't lock on. And neither can this guy. So actually, oh, that bottom one could lock on, but the top one couldn't, so he wouldn't open fire. So that's how I want it. So like the benefit of this is, so if we aim somewhere where they can both hit just in range, I think there's a spot this direction. Let's see. Okay, so actually, I mean, they both can't hit this target. Yes, now this one can. So, huh. Interesting. This one has a very limited. Oh yeah, 'cause it's max. Let's see. Yeah, somewhere like there. Yeah, I was too far outside the range. Somewhere like there, they could hit that target. So there we go. It's awesome. So let me check mark that off the list then. GitHub up here. So GitHub repository project. Alright, so added impulse, rotational impulse. It's not the best rotational impulse, but it works. Hate GitHub when it does this. I'm gonna full screen it. So it won't let me move stuff around quite right. Scoot further. There we go. So added rotational impulse. Some of the stuff I still need to work on, but some of that I have to work on if okay, last sight partially done, so I'm not going to check that one off yet. Reload timers and cursor, so that's all true. So let me move that. Alright, so now Railguns have a look at cursor and then Railguns. Reload. Timer. Alright, perfect. So let's see them. Alright. How long has this been going on? About an hour? Yeah. So I think I am gonna take a break. Got a lot done, at least for now. Some of the stuff I can't do on screen because that's stuff I need to do more research into. Which I got a list here. I don't know if you can see it. It looks like got the rotational velocity, railgun reload timers, railgun aiming correctly, which I did yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before that. So yeah, let me check marks all this off the list. So Dunskies. Right. The UI stuff I'm not going to worry about quite yet, because that's something I want to add that might take a bit of time. But alright. Yep. There we go. So I believe that should be good. Yeah, I probably should have named the stream something a little better. Looks like the name didn't really pick up much. I think it would be better if it looks like that. So we're using that. Game reload, railguns and reload times today. That would have worked a little bit better probably. But alright. So thank you guys who did come to the stream. And I will see you guys next time.